Hey, Carl. Yo, what's up, Rich? Hey, Carl, what time is it? It's time for Travels with Carl, baby. Let's roll. Let's ride, Carl. Well, I'm just glad it's still going on. Look at this. Here's their website. That's what the front of it looks like. And I have a painting that I've already done. So I don't have a painting this week, but look, here's some of the artists that are currently there. It's a cooperative or a collective gallery. Poochie Myers, C.J. Groth, both friends of mine, Ann Irvine, Molly Weaver, still there, and hold on, Sonia Robinson. So it's pretty awesome. And look, here's Key West, out in the middle of nowhere, right there, baby. Well, welcome back to Travels with Carl. That's one of my 5 rhododendron trees here in Linwood, Washington. I couldn't be any further away from Key West and still be in the continental United States than to be talking about episode 37, Guildhall Gallery from in Key West, from Linwood, Washington, just a few miles from the Canadian border. Well, as you can tell, I'm not at Carl today. I'm in my backyard. And today's episode is brought to you by A Simple Truth. Something everybody in America just wish we could have a little bit more of. The simple truth. So there I was, trying to figure out a way to get down to Key West. And get in a gallery and find a place to live. At that time, and we're talking about 2003 maybe, something like that, Key West was really, really expensive. Like a piece of property, like a shotgun shack, could be worth like 400 grand. And now I'm sure they're like, I doubt there's anything that you can actually buy on Key West for under $1 million. I don't know though, it might have, because the Florida real estate was so crazy, it really led the charge. Well, if you're new to the channel, Travels with Carl is a show about me and Carl. It's mainly about me though, and about travel, but Carl is a 31-foot motorhome. He's an Alumilite with a Chevy 454 engine, big block. So he lives in a gated community here in my development. But it's kind of a metaphor about my life and travel and the journey that my life as an artist has been. It's 56 years of time and working jobs all compressed into 1 year. And every week I do an episode, except last week, which was the first time I missed an entire week. I wasn't just late, I missed the entire week. So instead of cramming 2 episodes into 1 weekend, I said, hey, fuck it. I fucked up. I can be honest about that. I just didn't have time to do it. I can't even tell you why, because it's about jobs that are still in the future, or my present, but your future. So every week I talk about one of the many jobs, and I've narrowed it down to the 52 best. jobs that I've had to support myself as an artist in America, okay? It's not easy. And I went to Philadelphia College of Art, transferred to California College of Arts and Crafts, got a bachelor's degree in film and video, went on and did a little graduate study at the Manoa campus in Honolulu, and then traveled around and got my master's degree up here in the great Pacific Northwest in Portland, Oregon. But that's another story still in your future, in my past. But I'm making a book, 52, so every week is a short story. And what I'm doing right now is just right off the top of my head. This is unscripted, and I don't even reshoot it or edit it. A couple exceptions to that. But 99 times out of 100, this is straight off the noodle. So when I actually write the short stories, they're going to be crafted a little bit better, somewhere between Hemingway and Cormac McCarthy, that kind of quality, that level, that standard. And then I do a painting for every job or every episode. And as I mentioned in the clip that preceded this, I actually did several paintings of Guildhall Gallery, and one of them was really good, and I actually featured it, and I did a pack of cards, note cards, that were really a big seller. Not a lot of profit margin, but people loved it because it was like a $20 gift, and you got like 9 or 10 note cards with envelopes in there, and each one was one of my paintings on a 3x5 note card. I think I made $10 on a $20 pack of cards, something like that. Not huge, but pretty good. Anyway, I stumbled upon this gallery, which was a co-op gallery, which is like, say the gallery represents 20 people. The artists actually sit the gallery and run the gallery and take turns running the gallery. And in exchange for that, they usually pay some money, but they get a low cut on what the gallery takes. They usually get like a 90-10 split or something instead of a 80-20 or a 60-40 split or something horrible like that. They get most of the money, but they exchange their time running the gallery, which also is good because they have some skin in the game. Some people don't rate it as high level gallery, but I ended up finding it to be a very good way to run a gallery. Anyway, I digress. So I went in, showed my work, interviewed, and went through the interview process, and was accepted to the gallery. But I had a catch-22, so they were very accommodating, and they let me come down from Key Biscayne and put my shifts together, because I had to work 4 half-day shifts, or 1/3 day shift, I can't remember, a month. So I would go down one weekend and work 2 days and sleep in my truck, and then go back to Key Biscayne and come back 2 weeks later and do another weekend. And then one day, so this gallery, well, did I finish saying what Travels with Carl is? I did pretty much, yeah. So I do a painting every week. Then I'm going to do a limited edition of print and an open edition print. And that'll be on my website, which is www.vangogh.ink, like incorporated only with the INK, because I'm a printmaker, right? I got my master's degree in printmaking, or print media. Anyway, that's what Travels with Carl is. And so this is episode 37 of 52. So we're heading on down the road, you know what I mean? It's exciting. So I'm going to produce a high quality book with 52 color plates, 52 short stories, and it's going to be 52 is the name of the book, aka Travels with Carl. So it combines my film and video, my printmaking, my painting, my writing, and the YouTube channel. At the end of the 52 weeks, there'll be about 26 hours of video. I mean, that's like, you know, if you broke that down, you could do like 3 8-hour days of back-to-back travels with Carl. Kind of crazy. Anyway, it was a fantastic thing. And one day, 4 women started this gallery in 1976. It was a brilliant idea. The Navy pulled out of Key West. They used to have a Navy base there. And so all kinds of properties became available. And these 4 women, Susan Sturdivant, who I never met, Poochie Myers, Sonia Robinson, and Ann Irvine, went together, pulled their money, and bought this 2-story building on Duval Street, which, if you've ever been to Key West, which is only a 2-by-4 mile island, Duval Street is the main drag that runs right through the center of Old Town. And it's just loaded with bars and restaurants and galleries. And so this gallery, you know, this is, you know, 2026, so this gallery has been around for 50 years. In fact, they probably had a big celebration that I missed or didn't find out about, or maybe not. Maybe it's still up and coming. But this should be their 50th anniversary this year. So I'm going to have to look into that. I better make a few phone calls. But I showed my work, sold a bunch of work while I was there, sold original paintings and sold prints. So the real money was in prints, you know, like this size. Hands on the camera there, you know, something people could put in their suitcase and take back, because they had several cruise ships a day coming into Key West. Now, but when the gallery opened, there were no cruises coming into Key West. There were just anybody that got there either flew into Key West Airport or they drove down over the Florida Keys, which is a chain of islands. If you're not familiar with it, goes all the way from the tip of Florida all the way out into the Gulf of Mexico. And Key West is the last key. So one day, Poochie Myers said, "So I heard you were looking for a place to rent." She goes, "So you're looking for a house to rent?" I said, "Well, I don't think I can afford a house to rent." He said, "I was just looking for a room to rent in a house." And Poochie said, "Well, I've got a house that's empty, and I'm willing to rent it to you for $650 a month. Do you want to see it?" And she goes, "I've got the key right here." I said, "Poochie, if that key opens the front door of the house," and this is a direct quote, "I don't even need to look inside. If it's only $650 a month, I'll rent it sight unseen." And she just laughed. She's like, "No, you have to look at it." And so we went and looked at it, and I rented it. And it's one of the few places I actually raised my own rent to $850 a month after a couple months, because I said, I just feel so guilty renting this for $650 a month. I think when they sold it, I think it sold for around $400,000. But it was built 120 years before I lived there, so, and that was around 2002 or 2003. So that house would be about 140 years old today. So now, if you're familiar with the hurricane season in Florida in general, but you want to really pay close attention to it, because they get, you know, some pretty serious blows down there, as they call them. And so that's what finally caused me to leave Key West. I was there for the summer of Katrina, and if it there's a hurricane warning and then there's a hurricane watch. A hurricane watch just means there's a possibility of it. A hurricane warning means there's going to be a hurricane, and we're warning you about it. And if you're not a resident, if you don't have the word Key West on your driver's license, on your address, you're legally required to leave the island. Now, obviously, they can't enforce that, but what they do enforce, if you're staying in a hotel, is they refund your money and kick you out of the hotel, and you have to leave. They check you out, and you have to go. and then they just batten down the hatches, and everybody that wants to, that lives there, stays there. So we evacuated the island 14 times in 1 year, in one hurricane season. So, and you can imagine as a bellman how much money I lost, because not only did we leave all the money, we would lose all the money we would get normally checking people in and checking people out for that whole week, because once everybody's gone, there's no money. We didn't even go to work. Like some positions, like there's no reason to have a bellman, and the hotel is closed, right? So they kept on like some of the security and some of the maintenance crew and stuff like that. But I was working as a bellman I worked at several different hotels while I was down there, which I can't go into yet because those are future jobs. But anyway, I had a great time there. Sold a bunch of artwork, and just my good friend Ness, her and I are still really good friends, and I communicated with Bob and Poochie Myers for quite a while after I left, because like I said, I rented their house. One time I was staying, and I stayed for all the hurricanes, because I told everybody, if this house has been here for 120 years, imagine how many hurricanes it's gone through. And I think it was built by boat builders, so there's a good chance if it breaks loose from the foundation, it'll probably float. And that was my running joke. But I stayed there during all the hurricanes, and I'll have to admit, the first one was kind of scary. I boarded up my bathroom window, had an extra mattress there to throw over the bathtub, because that's supposed to be your bunker, the bathtub. And most people get killed from flying objects and things falling on them. So you want to find the bathroom typically only has one window and a door, so you can easily board up your bathroom, and even if you don't board up all of your house, you can kind of make a bunker in there. And but then after a while, I would just get used to pulling my barbecue inside so it didn't get wet. And I knew the power would go out for 3 or 4 days, and we wouldn't have any electricity. We never lost water, as far as I remember. And the water is pumped all the way down from Miami through this huge pipe. Like Key West, home to, home to Jimmy Buffett and Hunter Thompson and Hemingway and all kinds of famous people and famous chefs and famous bars and just outrageous parties. And of course, it was a lot of cocaine flew through or passed through Miami in the original early days of the cocaine distribution network into Miami. In fact, residents that lived in Key West used to go up to Miami to do some shopping, and they would be stopped by the border patrol in Miami, and they said, "Why are we being subjected to border patrol? We're in the United States, going from one city in Florida to another city in Florida." But they knew so much cocaine was being brought into the Keys in boats and then driven up by car into Miami, that they were stopping the DEA and ATF, and Border Patrol was actually stopping people, and there was a big hubbub, and Key West actually seceded from the nation. You can look this up. And they became the Conch Republic, and then they surrendered to the Navy after declaring war on the Navy. They declaring war on the United States. They surrendered. So but they had a lot lot of sharp people there and a lot of smart lawyers and everything. So to this day, they fly the flag of the Conch Republic, and people call the Key West the Conch Republic. And if you're born in Key West, you're a conch. And if you move there and live there long enough, you're a freshwater conch. And then you can graduate and become a saltwater conch. But locals that grew up there are just called conchs. You know, the shell with the conch and the animal in it. They fish the conch out so badly that they have to, anytime they serve conch in Key West, it's not from Key West. I mean, it's flown in from the Bahamas, but it's coming back now. But they actually fished out the water pretty hard of the conch. Let's see, we're at 20 minutes now. So I didn't bring a copy of my book outside today, but my book is Amendment 21-A. And aside from being about me and Carl and travel, my channel is also social political, and that book is available on Amazon, and it's the word amendment and the dash symbol and then the number 21. Amendment, then the number 21, then a dash and the letter A. Amendment 21-A. It's about ending the war on drugs. And I wrote that in 2017, but I'm still trying to promote it. And next year will be its 10-year anniversary. It's hard to believe, but it was very poignant when I wrote it, and I believe that it's even more true today. I mean, now it's progressed to the point where we're literally blowing up ships coming out of Venezuela with people suspected of trafficking cocaine. You hear that? I'm under a flyway. That was Alaska Airlines. It's fantastic, right? They're headed north up to Payne Airfield, which is Boeing's airfield. Originally, it was just a Boeing test airfield, but now it's actually a commercial airport. Boeing still uses it, of course. So if you want to check out my book, just go to Amazon into the book section and put in Amendment 21-A, or you can just put in Rich Van Gogh under author and it should come right up. $20. You're going to love it. And my website, vangogh.inc, I-N-K. Okay, you can go there and buy prints, and you could even have my artwork put on t-shirts, on note cards, any size, shape, all different kinds of materials, paper, canvas, aluminum plates, framed, unframed. It's really cool idea, website by Art Storefronts out of Austin, Texas. And the prints are actually made at Bay Photo in the Bay Area. And so Art Storefronts takes a little cut. The Bay Photo takes a cut for the printing and the shipping, and then they give me what's left over. But the good thing is that I don't have to touch anything. You know, I don't print it, I don't ship it, I don't have to deal with the money, nothing. The money just goes right into my bank account. So you can support this artist and in turn support the art world by buying some of my artwork. I appreciate that. So I've covered the Guildhall Gallery. It's still in, hi sweetie. Little birds are flying around now. I've got a bird feeder here. I started out just feeding hummingbirds, but I've expanded now. My goal is to attract crows. So I have to feed them unsalted peanuts. They like them in the shell. You know, I think they're smart. I think they like, you know, it's like a puzzle or like a prize to them, you know, or unwrapping a gift in the shell. They seem to prefer them in the shell. That, you know, could just be my idea. I don't know. Anyway, I just thought there was no way that I could not film this outside and not show you my beautiful rhododendron tree. Now I have 5 of them. I have a pink one, a yellow one, a white one, and one that's kind of purple. It's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Is that right? Yeah. There might be 2 yellow ones. I'm not sure. Purple, yellow, pink, and white. I think there's 2 of one of them, and I think I have 2 yellow ones, but I'm not sure. But this one always blooms first. And when I bought this house, this backyard, I also have a golden plum tree and a pear tree, and then a bunch of other trees. And of course, I planted 3 cherry trees because, you know, if you know me and if you've been following Travels with Carl, you know, I bought a farm in Portugal, and, you know, I'm gonna support my retirement by growing and selling cherries. And I just happened to stumble upon this, you know, by watching Farmer for Fun. And, you know, they have the most primo place in Portugal, near Fundão, which is near the border of Spain, about in the middle of the country. And my farm is in the Val de Perege, which is a valley of pleasure, which is a very fitting, you know, name for a farm where I have a farm. Anyway, I've been chasing around the Valley of Pleasure for my entire life. Okay. So anyway, back to cherries. This area is like here in Washington, we're famous for Rainier cherries. Well, Portugal supplies this Fundão area. It's like there's even like a tourist map, and it has cherries. And my farm is, you know, I bought it intentionally to grow cherries. So it's in that microclimate, the soil, everything, the light, all the conditions, just the weather, the moisture, the amount of cold nights per year, that just creates the perfect environment for growing cherries. So I'm hoping to produce around, have 1,000 trees and ultimately produce around 50,000 kilos. Could be 50 kilos per tree in a great year, around 50,000 kilos of cherries a year, and sell them wholesale for €5 a pound. So that's €250,000, you know. And the beautiful thing is the trees do all the hard work, you know. And otherwise, I'd be trying to figure out how to live on, you know, $1,500 a month from my Social Security, which is impossible. You couldn't even go to the most ghetto place in the United States, and I'm pretty sure I'm right on this because I've lived in some of them. You couldn't go to the most ghetto place in the US and survive on $1,500 a month. So we have a lot of fucking problems in this country, and the distribution of wealth has become so unfair that we have over 2,000 billionaires. Not in the United States, that's in the whole world. And there really should not be a billionaire, okay? Not a single person. If a company has $1 billion in assets or whatever, that's different. But individuals having a net worth of over $1 billion, or should say multiple billions, and now they're thinking that the Munchkin could actually go over and become a trillionaire. So that's 1,000 billionaires. And a billionaire, $1 billion is 1,000 millionaires. If anybody has 500 million, okay, a $500 million, they shouldn't be able to possess any more money than that. I mean, I know that doesn't sound very democratic, but it skews the amount of money that workers get paid so badly that, you know, and there's still some states like Nevada where the minimum wage is $7.25 an hour. You gotta be fucking kidding me. Anyway, I'm gonna call it good there. It's just so nice out here, and it's so nice to see you all. Thank you for tuning in. And hey, if you could do me a big favor, if you could subscribe to my channel and like my channel and then share it, that would really help me, because the last time I checked, I only have like 35 subscribers. Okay. Just to put that into perspective, one of my favorite channels, which I support, is the Daily Beast. I'm a Beast member. They have over 700,000 subscribers. And I can't go without, I've already told you I'm wearing my Expats Everywhere t-shirt, and I've already plugged, Joseph and Andre on Farmer for Fun, and now I've plugged the Daily Beast, but I can't end this show without plugging Mercedes Blanchet. Okay, she's become my favorite comedian. Check her out. She has like 50 trillion members. Everyone on the planet has subscribed to her channel. Okay. And they've all liked her. So she has trillions and trillions of likes and hundreds of billions of subscribers. I hope she's watching that. She'll get a kick out of that. Such a freaking funny woman, man. You got to check her out. All right, I'm going to cut it right there. Love y'all. Let's ride, baby. Let's ride.
Surrounded by the beast, the birds and the breeze, his motor home in the woods where creativity sees. Some will the bold colors come alive on canvas. He paints, pressing on his drive with the spirits of